All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let me fix this so you can see the flag there. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you.
So one,
Okay, the first item is approval of the agenda. Do I hear any comments or changes in the agenda, commissioners?
I don't have any, and I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
so moved. Next item is consent agenda items. Approval of regular. Oh, why do I always miss that? I even have it highlighted. What? Public comment. Please limit your time for comments to 3 minutes if you would. Who would like to go first?
Like to.
Okay, Brad.
Hi, Brad Carey here. By the way, I just stepped into my office, barely made the meeting. So a couple of things on the website. If it could be easier to use to figure out when the public meetings are going to be held, that would be great, because I had to call around to figure out what was going on. And finally, I learned that the meeting for Monday was placed for today. By the way, the Seahawks are playing the Rams today, so I'm going to keep my comment really short, okay? And then I'm going to disappear again if you don't mind, because I missed the San Francisco game. All right. With regard to the party or the request for a permit on North Shore Road, I'm not against parties, but the venue that is being suggested that take place in my opinion, is completely inappropriate. And, you know, there's got to be an maximum occupancy for that dock. I don't know what it is. That parking lot, I don't know what it is. But if you get, 40, 50 people or more out there, in the party atmosphere, putting stress on that system, it just doesn't work. And the liability that goes along with it, even though parties can have their own policies for liability, it just places a tremendous, puts a port in a really awkward position, because if their policy is not in place or doesn't cover it, or even if it does cover it, the port can still be brought in on litigation. I've seen it happen. By the way, Leavenworth just canceled all future permits for Oktoberfest. This will be the last. It's going on right now, but this will be the last one that they host over there. So you might consider finding out why, and you'll probably find it's maybe for the same reason. Okay. Secondly, last month, Larry's director's report talked about the fact they talked to PUD1 and that they didn't want anything to do with the port until Brad Carey was had nothing or was completely out of the picture. So he said he spoke with Christian over there. I don't know who Christian was, but I called over there at 8 o'clock the next morning. I asked to speak with Christian. I introduced myself. We had a good conversation for about 45 minutes. I read her what Larry put in his executive director report to the commissioners, and she said that's completely false. She didn't even know who I was until the morning that I introduced myself. So there's a problem there. You have to ask yourself what the commissioners are going to do about it. You guys, it's your deal. You need to deal with that. I can tell you there's a definite effort to disparage my reputation and discourage me from participating in the public process. And it's unfortunate it's not going to work, but other people see it and then they don't want to get involved because they see what happens to me. All right. Couple quick things. How am I doing on time?
18 seconds.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, RCW 40.16. Okay. There's some section under there under 010 and 020 and 030 that the commissioners and Larry, as well as Leon, need to look at. It talks about falsifying of a public record, and it talks about the fact that it's a Class C and Class B felony under each different one, and what is punishable up to 5 years in prison and either a $5,000 fine. One's a $1,000 fine. look at that, know what's going on there. Most commissioners, most public officials don't even know about it. And it's pretty important, okay? Sorry to use all my 3 minutes, but everything else will have to wait, okay? Oh, one more thing. Please think about setting up an advisory or ad hoc committee to consider what the port's real purpose is, because we have way too many layers of government, in my opinion. And to have the port mainly engaged in parks and recreation should really be a park district's function, either state, county, or just a general park district established. Okay, thank you, done.
What was
Thank
that RCW again, Brad?
Yeah, it was 40.16010 and 020 and 030. And most people, when I was a port commissioner, I did not know about it, okay? And only after, towards the end of my
Okay.
service did we learn.
Your minutes are up.
Okay,
And
thank you.
thank you.
All right, bye, guys. Hey, Art.
Yeah, Brad.
Okay, who would be next? Public comment. I don't see any hands raised.
Judy, I have my, Commissioner Scott, I have mine up.
Thank you, Terry. Yes,
I'm trying to use the appropriate Zoom protocol. So thank you. I'm Terry King and I'm with the University of Washington. And I just had a question. I've been following the port for many years, obviously the 30 years that I've been here. And I work with the seafood industry. And I know you have a lot of commercial users of your ramp, your dock there. And I'm curious to see, if outreach has gone to them relative to locking of the park at night. Right now we're working at midnight. So we get out there, about 11 o'clock, we'll work until 3 or 4 in the morning, then come in. So with gates being put up, where will the trailers be allowed to park, or will they have access, or is there some accommodation for them? Oftentimes they're in and out before your team even knows that they've been there. So I just want to make sure that they've been notified of what you're going to be doing on the 18th, and that some sort of accommodation so they don't get locked in or locked out.
thank you, Terry, and Larry will answer that. Thank you.
What we're gonna do is the pier and the marina won't be locked. That's gonna be outside where the gates are. So you should be able to come and go. Excuse me. And where the staging area is, that will be open. So you could park there if you needed to.
Okay, great. So so the tribe and all the other companies shouldn't have a problem if there's like 10 of them launching for parking.
If they're parking, no.
Well, they need to park their trailers.
The staging area, parking area can accommodate, or the staging area itself, the 2 paved lanes there can accommodate about 10 vehicles. And then the port also owns that strip of land just to the south of the launch ramp in front of those houses. So you could always park there if you needed to.
Leanne, did you want to address her?
Yeah, we could probably check out a key to commercial people.
Yeah, it was my thought.
Yeah, we could do that.
Would that work, Terry?
I think it might. I think communications with the folks that commercially use your ramp might be good, just so that they know this is happening. So if they show up on the 23rd or the 18th or whatever, they know that, what's happening. I mean, I'm sure you can tell by your receipts who's using the launch and when, but we are in the night tide. So my hunch is you're not seeing them because they're doing it at night.
Tribes don't pay, so I don't know them. Maybe you can send me an email of the ones that you know about, Terry.
Sure, I can do that.
Awesome.
Okay, and if you have any questions, give me a call and, let's sit down and sort it out.
That would be great. I know, there's so many challenges for the seafood industry right now with COVID, with their permits, with the Army Corps, the 700 permit backlog that we have there to do everything. So whatever we can do to make sure that their work isn't impeded when they can work would be great.
Yeah, well, we're on board.
Great. Anything else, Terry?
Nope. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. It's good to see you. Good to hear from you again. Okay, who's next? Do I see a hand raised?
I'll jump in if no one's going to yet, because I know there are people that have a lot to say. And
Sure.
I wanted to add just one very quick thing. Art had referenced in the follow-up call a conversation he had with me. Obviously, I was speaking for the group on the first call in opposition of this. And he misrepresented our conversation a little bit, and I just wanted to clarify that. Art said that after our conversation that I was all in favor of his parties. And what I had mentioned to him was that if the volume was reduced by half, and if the frequency was reduced to once a month, at that point, I probably wouldn't protest. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarify that.
And I would like to say that what you said was you would not endorse nor would you protest if we met some conditions that you had that you had. And,
yes, and you didn't bring that up in the Monday call.
That is exactly what I said. I said you would. I said that. I said
Gentlemen,
that
excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me. We have that all discussion for this schedule. So
Yes, ma'am.
we
Yes,
will
I will stop.
discuss that. And that is in new business, and that is like the second item. So hang in there. We'll get there. Anything else? Yes, Zach.
My name is Zach Griffin. I'm an attorney with Bricklin and Newman. I have some comments on the proposed party doc, but I understand that there's going to be an opportunity for that after new business, and I'd wait until then. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
It is on the agenda, you bet. Anything else that is not related to the party venue? No, my screen doesn't see everybody. Does anybody else have their hand raised? No? Okay. Seeing none other, then let's go ahead and go to the consent agenda items.
I'm gonna disappear. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Consent agenda items are meeting minutes of September 2nd, meeting minutes of September 4th, meeting minutes of September 6th. I think one wasn't even happening, but do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda items for the minutes?
I'll make a motion. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Commissioner Scott. Jackson. I was going to make a motion to approve the minutes for all three. The second, the 4th, and the 6th of September.
Okay.
And I'll second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Now to action items. Does somebody want to read them? I have them in front of me if somebody else doesn't want to read them. Those are the vouchers.
You want me to read them all through or just go ahead and?
The general fund, if you'll just read the title of it, you don't have to read all the numbers, but
okay.
But the amount so that the public knows the amounts.
Got it. Okay, so the payment of general fund vouchers 211-003-001 through 30 is $17,973.38. And make a motion to approve that. That's the appropriate right now.
Yeah, we can, if you want to read all of them, we can approve all of them at once.
Okay, I've gone through them. Okay, so payment of general voucher for $32,819.02. And the payment of payroll vouchers for $22,312. And the payment of water fund vouchers, $15,247.66.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve action items A, B, C, and D.
And I'll
All right.
second that motion.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Commissioners' reports. Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first on that. So since the last time we had our court meeting, the one thing that I was glad to be a part of and attend was the meeting with the North Mason Voice in Belfair addressing the Blue Star banner signs that are coming down with the PUD that represent active duty personnel, which has really been a unique and awesome thing to have in our community in and around Belfair and Allyn and what have you. And the issue was the safety and then also some legal issues with the signs on the poles themselves. But long story short of it, the short version of it is that we've got a lot of people in the community that want to find alternative resolutions, to have resolve on this matter, to show our support and coming together as a community for our men and women in uniform. And so there were some really good ideas during that meeting. And it was Lynn Eaton, who was the communication relations manager for PUD 3. She did an awesome job explaining it. She had a tough job because even herself having military in her family, she doesn't want to see this happen, but it is the reality of it is that there's got to be a shift in how we go about showing the respect for our men and women in uniform, just by the nature of the safety issue and the legal issues involved. And then Lynette George, who's the founder of the Blue Star Banner, she spoke, and it was just a really, for me, it was a special time after retiring from the military. And now I want to get involved in seeing to it that we get resolve on that here in the North Mason, Allyn, and Belfair. So that was something I attended recently. Thank you.
Ed?
Yeah, besides the general meetings, we had the wonderful 100th anniversary party. I can't thank Leanne Sunshine and Larry enough and all the commissioners for organizing that. I think it was very well attended, and also I keep on hearing positive things from that. People were very appreciative and they said they had a great time. So then I also met with Thera Black with the PRTO, unless it's in front of you.
PRTPO.
Yes, and we had a nice conversation about electric vehicle chargers, and I asked Larry if he would like to get involved, and so Tara and Larry were emailing back and forth. So hopefully in our next December meeting, we'll have some plans to get some grants to see what we can do, have a couple of charges up here at the in Allyn. So other than that, that's about it.
Great. Oh, thanks, Ted. I've been wondering about the PRTPO. For those that don't know, it's Peninsula Regional Transportation Planning Organization. And it's really important. Thank you, Ted.
Mm-hmm.
And also, John, the North Mason Community Voice, it was really well attended. It was just great. And just to clarify too, it's the ones that they were going to take down were the ones in Allyn and Greatview. The ones in Belfair, they have an agreement with PUD. So that works out good, but it's so important. And thanks for bringing that up. That was just wonderful because it was great. I did the regular port meeting on the 6th. I did an EDC meeting, Economic Development, Mason County meeting on the 9th. Of course, our 100-year anniversary. Boy, that was great. And you did a super job of cooking that salmon. They were raving about it, Ted. Thank you.
Thanks.
That was wonderful. So, and I attended a meeting. It's the Maritime Washington National Heritage Area Summit 1. And now this is an organization. Now I've heard about this before. I've been on a few meetings, but it's been a few years back. So this was really cool. But this organization is a 501c3. There's 13 counties, 30 port districts, 3,000 saltwater shorelines, and 18 tribes in this designated area. And one of the reasons I was interested, of course, is that they do give grants for projects. That was the first question I had for them. In 2010, there was a feasibility study of the 3,000 miles from Grays Harbor to the Canada border, Point Roberts, sorry. And the Maritime Washington National Heritage Area has a management plan that is required by Congress and to be completed and submitted to the National Park Service and is a non-regulatory entity. And based on volunteers, just so everybody knows. This organization is collaborative and has the ability to give grants. There's 76 planning team members. And we had breakout meetings during this Zoom meeting, which I got to meet other participants, which was really helpful. It was great. The attendees of that breakout was Susan Berta, and she was from boarding Orca Network, which is Langley Whale Center, had no idea. It would be Island. And Kevin Decker, and he's the tourism support of Sea Grant. And Sea Grant, of course, they do grants for anything that's related to tourism or the sea or anything like that. And then Michael Litt, who is a volunteer with the Steilacoom Museum, and Christina Coombs from San Juan Counties, and she's a tourism coordinator. And then Julia Tesh, and she was the host from Burke Consulting. And one of the things I brought up was if they had issues with Army Corps stopping projects like we have. So,
70 when I left.
oh, I guess Terry King works for Sea Grant too. Thank you, Terry. That's great. And then of course the North Basin Community Voice. And I met with Sean Hines of Spruce Properties, getting a bid to get the Oyster House siding installed. So it looks good. Hopefully that we can get the building sided. And I just wanted to show you a little thing. This is the Washington Trust. That's the thing I went to. So you'll be hearing more about that. Okay, security officers report.
Okay.
Bill Harvey's microphone.
Yeah, we need to have somebody mute. Is it Bill Harvey or somebody is making a lot of noise?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, 9/27/2021, hours 22:25. Upon arrival at the Allyn waterfront, a yellow and black Ford Mustang, Washington, and plate number BXY3462 is backed in a corner of the parking area. Upon inspection, the occupants were in various stages of undress. I'm reminded them to park. The park was no place for that sort of behavior and asked them to leave the facility. Took them 5 to 6 minutes to finally start their vehicle and leave the premises. At no time did they engage in conversation with me. Their vehicle was photo documented for future reference. And that is his report.
Okay. Your report now.
All right.
Executive Director.
I know everybody wants to watch the Seahawks, so it'll be briefer than usual. Things have seemingly leveled out and we aren't expecting any big expenditures between now and the end of the year. Financial issues, I'm sorry. Our revenue streams are performing as it's expected considering how we budgeted. Bookings for weddings and events at the gazebo have tapered off significantly, but they always do at this time of year. We've not yet received the staging area expense reimbursements from RCO, but it is in the pipeline. RCO does random audits of their grants, and we've been lucky enough to be chosen for one, which is what's holding up our $52,000+ reimbursement. They've only questioned one item, which we've responded to, but they're slow to respond back as we've been dealing with this one item for going on 3 weeks now. Also, rather than close out the grant, I've asked for an expansion of the scope of work to include the fencing and gates we're going to install, since they will be part of the staging area fencing. We're over $150,000 under budget for this project, so I'm hopeful this $7,500 request will be approved, but then again, response time is very slow. We received a little over $20,000 in reimbursements from Commerce this week, which includes the final reimbursement for Art Anderson's bill for engineering on the Oyster House. Commerce had installed some new software, which had some issues and delayed processing reimbursements, but ours has been paid. We will also turn in $32,000+ for the launch ramp removal next week and should see that reimbursement within a week or so. We will be beginning the 2022 budget process and we'll have a draft budget ready for you sometime this month. We'd like to do a public hearing for the 2022 budget at our November 1 meeting and have a special meeting later in November for another public hearing and approval. We have to have it approved and submitted to the county by November 30. As you are aware, we're dealing with litigation, so we are incurring substantial additional unbudgeted legal fees, as you can see from the voucher reports on the water fund. We do have expenses related to the new well, but those are also coming out of the water fund, not our general fund. Executive session, we'll need to schedule a special meeting to hold another executive session with our attorney sometime in October to discuss litigation issues and options as well. I will consult with our attorney and coordinate all this with everyone. Water system issues. We had a problem with the main water pump from our well going out a couple of weeks ago. We were able to have a temporary backup unit installed the same day until the main pump could be replaced, and service was not interrupted as the reservoir was just about full at the time. It was a temporary drawdown in the reservoir, but it was refilled once a temporary pump came online. Since we invested a substantial amount in the new pump and state-of-the-art controls for it, when the new well comes online, we will dismantle the new equipment and use it as backup unit. So we will have redundancy in case of primary equipment failure like we just experienced. We continue moving forward on the new well. We're waiting for an engineer's estimate so we can figure out exactly how much money we need to look for. Been led to understand there's federal funding available for the bailout money the state will receive. We needed to make a formal request to the county for this, so I submitted the EDC's SEDS request forms, which the county required. However, the county has now required everyone seeking some of the federal money to resubmit via the SEDS process. On initial review of the SEDS forms, one of the county commissioners made a comment. He didn't see our request being funded based on 2 letters received objecting to us getting this money. I filed a public records request for copies of those letters and just received them about 4 o'clock today, and I forwarded them on to all of the commissioners. I've also made Joe Brogan aware of the situation, and he is reviewing our legal options in response to the senders possibly interfering in our business. It was an issue with an easement we needed to work out. I met with the property owner who agreed to give us what we need. As noted previously, we're going to have to install a booster pump near the tank to equalize water pressure with the rest of the system for the existing new homes and others to be built at that level. Engineering for this should be finished next week. As stated earlier, I've not been at all happy with Northwest Water Systems Management Division's ability to provide the service we request or solve problems in a timely manner. I met with the manager of Belfair Water and his right-hand guy last month. Spoke with the manager there last week, and he said that after evaluating both our needs and their personnel situation, they aren't in a position to submit a proposal, so we're stuck with Northwest Water for the time being. But I am researching other potential options. Nothing has happened on cooperating with the other water providers on prompting county commissioners to establish a countywide coordinated water system plan, but I intend to start pushing this shortly as it's sorely needed. Redistricting. This was something we were originally slated to have done by November. However, because the census data was delayed in being delivered to the counties, it's been postponed until November of next year. We'll require hiring a consultant, but we have time to sort all this out and possibly work with some other ports. I'm hoping the Kitsap All Ports Association will be putting together a plan that we can participate in. Security camera issues. Our cameras at all of our locations are up and running. Sort of. There's still issues to work through with the vendor to completely deploy them as we intended, but we're closer than we've been from the start. The Wi-Fi at the North Shore is up and running. However, we also have to move one camera at the marina so we can see the pay machine. This has required us to install another pole for the camera to mount on, but it also sees the entire parking lot across the street. Trying to get a timeline from the vendor about when the camera will be moved, and hopefully it'll be next week. We now have the software installed on our computers, but need to learn how to use it. It's not yet on our phones, but will be shortly. The flat screen TV we bought for the office to display the camera feeds from all 3 places is mounted on the wall and will be set up and running shortly as well. Other security issues. As you heard Barry Betzinger comment previously, the drug activity in the park has seemed to pick up significantly since the PUD installed the free Wi-Fi. And as you know, calling the sheriff is a total waste of time, considering the state legislature's police reform legislation. But what we've decided to do is install gates to lock the park at night. We have a fencing contractor who's scheduled to start on the 19th and finish on the 23rd. The job will include gates at both the main parking lot and the Oyster House. They will tie into the existing fencing at the ends of the staging area and by the shed, so no cars can get in there with the gates locked. Travis will lock them when he does his evening rounds, which is around 9 or so. Don will unlock them in the morning when he gets here, which is usually between 6 and 7. We've also had the PUD shut down the free Wi-Fi at 8 as well. North Shore Pay Station, a new pay station for the North Shore has been programmed and it's up and running. Port Centennial, I think we can all agree the event was a great success. We've added some decorative brick trim around the monument and colored rock inside that brick to complement the glasswork on the art. Website updates, we refreshed our website with some new pictures, including some drone shots, but we need to do a major upgrade that'll include simplifying the navigation somewhat. We're also looking into using our security cameras as a webcam, but truthfully, it's going to be early next year before we get to this. Would you like me to do old business?
Yes.
Oyster House, as you know, our funding request for this project was included in the final capital budget. We were awarded $344,000 to complete the project. We also have an additional $10,000 to work with for the parking lot repairs if it's damaged during the Oyster House project, which we may need to use some of after the pile driving begins. Disney and Associates took out the old launch ramp and seawall, separated the concrete from the rebar, so the majority of it was recyclable, and restored the shoreline to its natural state. We're still waiting on the Army Corps permit. WPPA has taken the lead on this issue and is assembling information from every port in the state about the status of their Army Corps permits. Port Association and other states are doing the same, and we're hopeful a congressional solution to the stalemate between the Corps and National Marine Fisheries Service will take place at some point. Sweetwater Park, nothing new to report. All ports meetings, there hasn't been a date set for the next meeting yet that I'm aware of, but if it's an in-person meeting, it'll be held at the Port of Brownsville. Otherwise, it'll be via Zoom. Criminalization of marina rules, nothing new to report on this, and that is my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. No questions, commissioners?
No.
No questions.
Let's go to new business. The first item is the adoption of resolution 428 concerning the commissioner pay. Larry, would you like to explain about that, please?
Yeah, this is a housekeeping item. And the Washington Public Ports Association provided us with this resolution. It affects all ports, and it has to do with the way that the law was initially written, which had some kind of problem. And to be honest, I'm not sure that I understand exactly what it was. But anyway, the resolution takes care of the problem. The state auditor said they are not interested in looking at this for anybody if they adopt the resolution.
Okay. So who would like to read the?
Yeah, it's about
resolution?
3 pages long, the resolution.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Yes.
I read through it. I glanced at it, but I didn't. Okay. Did everybody else look at it?
I read through it. The resolution number 426, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
20, yeah, it's 26. Sorry.
And I've read through it too. I don't, maybe we should just read the title and then at the end, the adoption of it. Because it is pretty lengthy.
Sure, yes.
It's actually pretty dry. So I'll read the title. Port of Allyn, Washington, resolution number 426, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Port of Allyn addressing the apparent legislative drafting mistaken the 2020 amendment to RCW 53.12.20260 by maintaining the status quo for commissioner composition for current and future commissioners.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept resolution 426?
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 426.
I hear a second.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay. Next is the event on the North Shore Dock. So who would like to go first? Art, why don't you go ahead and speak up?
All right, thank you, Commissioner Scott. First, I'd like to address the comment that Eric made. And right here on page 7 of the proposal that I suggested, it said that we made an agreement that if the music was turned down to an appropriate level, that he would neither oppose nor endorse the events. Again, we're trying to create something everyone can enjoy. I attended the 100th year anniversary at the Port of Allyn this year. Again, it was a good event, and it parallels everything that we are doing down at the Port of Allyn Dock North Shore. As far as the attorney's comment for capacity and Brad's, I believe it was Brad's comment for capacity. There's maybe 20, 25 people on that dock at any given moment. At no time do we exceed the capacity. Everything that you do at the Allyn gazebo is exactly what we do here. There is really no difference other than it's our idea. And it's for the general good. We're not trying to drunken debauchery or any of that. We're just trying to create a situation where our community can come together and enjoy music and enjoy socialism in their boats.
I think you meant
and enjoy-
socializing.
Socializing. I'm sorry, Larry. Socialism is close to communism, and I'm sorry about that.
I got it.
We just it's a place where we can enjoy our outdoor and it is the Port of Allyn public dock. And it was created for the community to have access to the canal. I mean, that is the first words in the when I go on the Port of Allyn website. The Port of Allyn was created so the public could have access to the North Shore and the Hood Canal. We're not. These are voters. These are the general public. These are not. I have heard you speak of the crime in Allyn and that. These are not people who go out. These are people who have jobs and pay their taxes and have nice boats and are just trying to enjoy the facility. And I read in the Shelton Journal the article and that was as unbiased as it could be. And again, I was asked to meet many stipulations in a very short time. And I did state that I run multiple businesses here in Mason County. And that weekend I happened to have many jobs that had to be done and then to be, again, and I'm going to use the term stonewalled until now and then put off until July because I feel that is what is about to happen. To be put off until July. We're not trying to do anything that anyone else is not doing down at the gazebo. I just don't understand. I have many signatures. There are a couple of people who don't agree with what we're doing down there. I saw parking up and down the highway in Allyn. Cars parked the same way we did down at North Shore. The whole event parallels everything that went on there and everything that goes on during the weddings and the events that you guys rent out that particular venue for. Other than the fact that it is in Belfair. And I'm trying to bring people to our town and let our community enjoy our facility, not Allyn. If I lived in Allyn, then I would be in full support of changing the venue to the gazebo. But I have lived here all my life. And what I saw is, and Judy, you said it last week or at the last meeting, welcome to politics. The politics have nothing to do with it, really. It is socializing and again, bringing our community together. Bringing our community together like Belfair Days. And I said this before, like Belfair Days used to do before it became before it became commercial. And I just can't state enough that our community and the public in general needs something like this to raise their spirits, because once again, we're coming into a situation where people are they're just plain fed up. They're just plain fed up. And they need some sort of release. And all we want to do is provide a proper release for that. Again, it's not about the money for me. I hear, well, we need to get our share, or what do you expect to get out of this? I don't expect to get anything. I spent my vacation last year at the Port of Allyn, which I spend every year with my boat down there. Last year, we raised over $8,000 for the port. And that's a pretty good chunk of change, considering the actual gazebo didn't raise any money, or very little, because of what was going on. It was a perfect place for social distancing. People could enjoy the venue, which is what the Port of Allyn is for. So I'll go ahead and quit, because I find myself repeating. I don't understand why something that could be good for the community has become such a hot debate. Last year, we held 4 of them. Actually, we held 6 of them. By the time I met all of the stipulations that were made, I didn't see a problem with us doing it this year, as long as those stipulations were met again. After the first 2, it became another issue. Again, I spent my valuable time going around and getting the signatures from most of the people that lived down there. There were a couple that weren't home, and there were a couple that I just didn't waste my time, because I knew they would oppose it. I did talk to Eric, because one of the neighbors actually pointed me to his house and said, you might want to talk to that gentleman. And again, if in any way I misquoted or was wrong about our conversation, I apologize. I just understood that he would not oppose, nor he would endorse as long as we met some of the stipulations. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do, you hang in there, Art. I'm going to open, well, commissioners, do you have any comment first? And then let's open it up to all those who are wanting to weigh in on this. I'd like to hear everybody's weigh in, and then we can vote on it if we want to. I think we should. I don't want to waste Art's time either. And
Yeah, I don't either. But I believe that you said that welcome to government, not politics, last time. But just for the
correct.
record, that's what I remember. But
it was government, but you know,
yeah, that's okay. I don't think that he
Politics.
intended. I don't, and I guess because it is a process where we need to make the right decision. So it's a process, Art, and I apologize for you feeling put off. That's all I can say about that. But we'll figure this out here shortly, and that's all I got to say about that right now.
Yes, sir.
okay. So I see several people on here that's probably in relation to this project, or to this event. Who would like to go first?
Bill Harvey.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, so a question for all the commissioners. How many reports did you get for the 100-year anniversary for Port of Allyn saying the music was too loud, traffic was screwed up, or anything like that? Do you get any bad reports?
No.
No, we didn't.
Are you telling me out of Highway 3 running through there, and the way traffic was backed up, nobody at all called the port and said, hey, you guys are messing up traffic, the music is too loud, or there's too much beer being consumed down there?
No, we didn't receive any complaints. And if you go through Allyn on any given Saturday, Sunday, when the weather's halfway decent, Big Bubba's lines of vehicles run basically from the Port of Allyn all the way down to Leonard Cay. So people unfortunately in Allyn are accustomed to people parking like that on the weekends.
Okay, so is this not a democracy in this here United States?
Oh, Bill, that's kind of not really the issue. We want to, are you for it?
It is an issue. It is an issue because you guys shut us down because you said you had several complaints about our parties, right? That was, and I got quoted from your secretary that you guys would not renew my lease if we had our party down there. So we did not have it. So I get the feeling, all right, because I'm owner of that boat, I get the feeling that we got some type of hypocrisy going on here because last year we made you a shit ton of money and this year we couldn't do that for you. Do you agree?
Well, you broke up. Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
I said, last year we made you over $8,000. This year we couldn't do that for the Port of Allyn.
I'd
Yeah,
like
I
to
wanted-
comment right there.
Yeah, please.
They didn't
Larry,
make us $8,000. They paid us $8,000 for the rental of the facility.
okay,
I
gotcha.
just want to clarify that.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next. Earl. Can you unmute? Thank you.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Thank you for having this meeting here. And your normal meeting, I guess, was postponed for today. But, you know, I feel in support with Art and in his group of individuals for putting on a community-based event. And where I'm getting a lot of communication with my neighbors is that this isn't the right location for that type of venue. It's a residential area. We've seen the parties here a year and a half, 2 years ago when there was an excess of 60 to 100 people. I don't really know for sure. I didn't count everybody, but it was a lot. There was more than 25 on the dock. And one of the concerns we have here in this residential zoning is that we're on a blind corner, inadequate parking, and there's other areas that could accommodate your venue. You say Belfair. Well, how about Belfair State Park? You got a huge parking lot. You got a huge gazebo there. They may not be able to come in by boat, but maybe they could come in by boat and moor up and then go down to the park for the party, come back and hop in their boats and leave. You know, I wish Belfair State Park had a dock too, but the docks were intended to provide moorage. And it's almost impossible to moor your boat if you're just out here on a given weekend, coming out here in August or Labor Day, if it's already been pre-rented for the entire party or venue that you're looking to do art. A lot of my neighbors have contacted me to kind of be a spokesperson for them. There are a number of individuals that have signed up for your petition that were in support of signing the petition for one or maybe two events. But they were not informed that there could be or would be a liquor license involved where you may be selling liquor or giving liquor out or beer garden. If I remember right, there was even discussions about potentially having a vendor truck selling burgers. I think you had mentioned. None of those individuals that signed the list that are the neighbors to this community are in favor of that type of venue here. They've contacted me, a significant portion of them on the list on the Sunstrom Road through the 4200 to 5000 block. The neighbors that are most impacted are not in favor of a all August and even into September every weekend event. And I'll be honest, myself, I'm raising a family here. I got little kids and they were exposed to some inappropriate behavior there, but they're also exposed to inappropriate behavior on any random day. I live next to a boat ramp. There's going to be some inappropriate behavior there, but they were specific to your party on paddle boards topless, and they went to and from your dock in front of my house. And my 4-year-old, actually at the time she was only 2.5-year-old, wanted to know what that was because it looked fun. Anyway, I'm not saying that your venue, those were your people that you invited, but they did attend. And the lack of policing to support this venue here and the size that it can grow to does not fit the mooring dock. With that being said, I oppose your, as a neighbor, I oppose your plan to lease the mooring dock through the months of August and Labor Day for that matter, until there's a better understanding. And I don't think the county, you're even in compliance. I think the Port of Allyn is out of compliance for even having changed the use of the dock. And that's my 2 cents.
Hey, thank you. Who else is next? And some people I can't see.
I'll go.
Okay, Joel, thank you.
Okay. So I live just down from Earl, closer to the dock. And when I met with Art, he came into my driveway this past summer, late summer, and we had a good conversation about, the music and things like that. And I specifically told him then, choose one of the major holidays, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, pick one or two of those, have your music. He had a great fireworks display. I told him that, and I don't know if it was legal or not, but that part was okay. But then I hear about the other stuff. He wants to add, I was never, when I signed this petition, and by the way, I'd like to go on record, I'd like to take my name and my wife's name off the signature because I felt that we were ill-informed about what he wanted to do. And I can go to his list of, and I'll get their name correct, something probably on record. It's Art's notes. And so there's a lot of things in those notes that were not made available to us at the time of the signing. It was all about, do you like the music and this kind of stuff? And do you want to do more than one or two events? And we were very specific about saying no, only on the major holidays, and that's it, one or two. And so I just wanted to go on record for stating that.
Thank you, Joel.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Once again, the amount of the dates was all negotiation. We discussed that at the last meeting. And all we do is provide food. When I talked to Larry about the food truck, nothing was carved in stone. All we want to do is provide food, such as people bringing their own food or us donating the food. The same thing, once again, that was done at the 100-year anniversary. Again, this isn't about profit, and at no means. The music and the gathering is what is the most important. And Earl, I did mean to come down and talk to you. I've just been very busy. I know that Eric had mentioned that you were a opposer to it. And I apologize if someone exposed themselves at some point, if a woman was topless. I was not made aware of that. The list of stipulations for the proposal adds policing to everything that was going on, the parking. And again, if we can get just 1 or 2 days out of the month, that would be awesome. I don't want to overstep my bounds. I don't want to interfere with people's private or their weekends. Just even 1 or 2, just so that we can put this event on.
Okay, Art, let's go ahead and listen to anybody else. Ann?
I do have a little bit to say because I live down the road. I enjoy it. I think a compromise on, every weekend is too much for the neighbors. But a couple weekends would be good. And as far as being exposed, I raised my kids over here by the Belfair State Park, and we had a guy with my daughter and me that exposed himself very well. So you can't blame Art for that. Those
didn't.
people are out there.
I didn't blame Art. I even said, I
Okay.
don't even know if they were his crew. I just said that they
Yeah.
went to his venue. So
Yeah.
they did attract that type of individual.
Yeah.
Maybe your streaker was there too. I don't know.
Right. Go. Yeah. That's
Okay,
it.
anybody else? Zach, yes.
Hi, thanks. My name's Zach Griffin. As I mentioned before, I'm an attorney with Bricklin and Newman. I have 3 points I want to make. I'll try to be brief. First, allowing the moorage facility at the North Shore Marina to be used on weekends as a party dock is beyond the scope of the Port District's authority. State statute describes the Port District's authority and states that a Port District may operate docks, and in connection with the operation of the facilities and improvements of the district, it may perform all customary services, including the handling, weighing, measuring, and reconditioning of all commodities received. Providing for live bands and alcohol-fueled parties is not a customary service of a Port District. If the Port District acts outside of its statutory authority, the action is arbitrary and capricious and illegal. This exposes the district and its officers to legal liability, and the district may be on the hook for the legal costs of defending a lawsuit. Second, our state has a law that ensures that government agencies make fully informed decisions called the State Environmental Policy Act, or SEPA. SEPA is an environmental full disclosure law. It requires state agencies, including port districts, to assess any potential environmental impacts of the decision up front before the decision is made. Noise, aesthetics, traffic, parking, and displacement of recreational users are all listed environmental impacts under SEPA. If those impacts might be significant, the district must undertake a thorough environmental study called an environmental impact statement, or EIS. There's several steps to this process. First, the applicant prepares an environmental checklist. Next, the district reviews the checklist and determines whether there are likely to be significant environmental impacts. Then the district makes what's called a threshold determination as to whether an environmental impact statement is required. All that happens before any decision is made, and the Port District has done none of that here. There's no environmental checklist, no analysis of environmental impacts like noise, aesthetics, parking, things like that. Failing to comply with SEPA's procedural requirements usually leads to a lawsuit against the government actor. Finally, having a party dock here at the moorage facility is unfair to the residential property owners near the dock and to boaters who want to use the dock for its intended purpose. And it seems there's a better alternative. The Port District already has a facility that is designed and intended for this kind of event, the Port of Allyn gazebo. Moorage dock was designed and intended for mooring boats. The gazebo is clearly intended for this type of event. It has a dance floor, restrooms, shelter from the weather, been used for live music in the past. And HD's Pub should rent the gazebo instead of trying to bend the rules to use the dock for summertime parties. I understand that there's a Belfair State Park also nearby. If he wants to stay in Belfair, that's another reasonable alternative. But the moorage dock is for mooring boats. Thank you.
Zach, who do you represent?
I
represent a group of neighbors called Pleasant Cove Owners.
And your name is?
Zach, Z-A-K, Griefin, like good grief with an E-N on it. G-R-I-E-F-E-N. I work for Bricklin and Newman in Seattle.
In Seattle.
Okay. All right, thank you, Zach. Who else would like to make comment? I see a few others.
I actually have a question.
Sunshine, yes.
Zach was saying that a statute. What statute is that? I'm curious.
The statute providing for the Port District's authority was RCW 53.08.020. The statute that says the Port District is may be responsible for the legal cost of defending a lawsuit against its officers is RCW 53.08.208. The Title 53 of the statutes is the whole title is port districts.
Okay, thank you, Zach.
My pleasure.
Just one quick question. Do you live in Belfair, Zach?
No, I don't live in Belfair.
Hey, I have some other questions too. I see a few others that maybe would like to speak. Anybody else? Jerry? Is it, oh, Eric, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question more than a comment. One of the discussions at the first one of these meetings was what the noise ordinances were, and it was unknown at the time. I did a little research, and the ordinance 9.36.060 defines both the receiving and the noise source as Class A sources, which is a 55 decibel limit. My question is this: if that is exceeded, who's going to police that? Because questions that we had 2 years ago regarding what was going on at the dock were deferred from Mason County Sheriff to Allyn, to the Allyn commissioners. Those complaints were then bounced back to the sheriff, and it went back and forth. So my question is, who would police that?
I would actually be the one, the governing agent as far as policing how loud the music was. Once again,
Art, I get it, and I appreciate that, Art, but you're not a governing agency, though.
No, but they have the stipulations that were laid upon me was how would I police and take care of the event. And again, when you and I spoke, you said, well, bring it down to half. And that's when you informed me of the 5,500 decibel rule. And our conversation, I said that I would bring everything down to half and leave all of the parking out in front open, because that was the other problem that you had, that
and Art, those are the right things to say, but the question really needs to be asked and answered by the commissioners.
Well, I think
if they want to defer to you to all of the legal elements that are going on there, I believe that that's putting them in a place they probably don't want to be in.
Okay. All I can say is that once again, a list of stipulations was given to me, liability insurance, all of it. And
I understand, Art, but I need to ask that question to the council. So to the commissioners. So who will be responsible for that policing activity? Is it the Port of Allyn or is it the sheriffs?
Eric, since it's a county ordinance, it refers back to the sheriff's department.
Okay. And I just wanted that on record. So thank you.
Yep. It's not a port. It's a county ordinance.
Yeah. And they were unwilling to do so in the past. That was the issue.
I was made aware of that.
And we have already discussed that it's very tough to get the Mason County Sheriff out to do really anything.
Right.
When it
I get that.
Okay. All right.
If we find a resolution to this, I hope that I'm not, and we have our counsel here, so hopefully I'm not getting myself in trouble. But, as a restaurateur at one time, I was responsible for ultimately the bottom line of how loud it was. And I had neighbors complain. So I would go tell the band to be quiet, and they would, otherwise they wouldn't come back. I wouldn't let them come back.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I think as a port commission that ultimately we would be responsible, and then we just tell them you need to keep it down or you're not welcome back. And I think that's possible. I mean, Art knows all that.
Yes.
It is sometimes hard to control people, but that's part of his job as well. I certainly don't mind stepping up if I have to help, because I know the sheriff isn't going to deal with it.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I didn't get myself in trouble, but that's just a simple way of dealing with it.
As far as most people in this community know me, and I don't want to sound, I don't know. They respect the choices and the decisions that I make as far as when these events, or even if they're in my establishment. And this isn't HD's putting on this event. This is me. This is this is me and my personal money. I fund these. This is, at no time do I promote HDs as far as the promoter for this event. Again, it's not about the money for me. I love Belfair. I love the Hood Canal. I love boating. I love the venue at the Port of Allyn. I love music. I love socializing. And when it comes to the authority as far as people listening to what I have to say and keeping it down, if it's brought to my attention, again, we only had one particular individual last year that wanted to argue with folks, and he was promptly asked to leave. And we do police our own.
Well, Art, I need to interrupt here a little bit. We do have our council, and I kind of wanted to ask some questions with Zach and our council, Joe Brogan.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions I had for Zach is, you know, requiring an EIS for something like this. He is a private citizen wanting to use the dock. And I understand about the concerns of the neighbors. I mean, I know how it is as neighbors with parties going on or whatever. But my question is, how far does a private citizen who wants to use the dock have to do an EIS? Can you address any of that, Joe? Some of these concerns?
Yeah, happy to do that, Judy. My sense is first, you know, beginning with the Ports Authority under Title 5308, it's a fairly sweeping authority, as Mr. Griffin probably knows. And I view this a little bit differently. I view this as carrying out the Ports Authority with respect to leasing or entering into agreements concerning the use of port facilities, which the port is authorized to do. And under WAC 197.11.800, which are the SEPA rules, that type of activity by the port is exempt from SEPA. And so at this point, I don't see that there's a link to the need for the port or the individual requesting permission to conduct environmental review for an activity like this. And that's just my quick assessment.
Thank you. That helps. Commissioners, do you have any other questions?
No, but I am prepared to make a motion if there's no more discussion on it.
I would like to say one other thing.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Down the road, there's a wedding venue, and from what I understood, some of the neighbors thought that the noise was from our events, but our events close by 7, 8 o'clock. And there is a wedding venue down the road that we were actually blamed for the music that was going on and the noise that was going on down there at one point. So I would just like to make the commissioners and the public aware that anything after 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock was not us.
Okay, thank you. John, what did you want to say?
If there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a
I do
motion.
have one more thing.
Okay.
Okay.
We just had Hood Fest this year out there, up by Union.
Yes.
So I don't know how they put that on, but maybe Art wants to talk to the people that put on Hood Fest, because that was a boating event.
Yes,
where everybody came by water to listen to music. Yeah.
We did take our boat up there for Hoodstock, and it was the same.
Hoodstock, yeah.
It was the same style of event.
Right.
It was done on private property though, Art.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering.
And this is my point. This is property for the public. I mean, it's there for the public use. I mean, it's for the public. I mean,
John, before you make the motion, I just have one comment. You know, Art, there's nothing I have against you or this party, but I look at being a commissioner as that we need to be good neighbors to the people who live next to our facilities. And when I have neighbors saying it's not good for them. It creates problems for them. As a commissioner, I have to listen to them.
Okay,
So-
can I say that my friend Mick and Denise lived in the blue house next to the gazebo, and they were never ever asked about having live music, and the port actually bought their home and tore it down for the new parking. And I don't believe any of the neighbors in Allyn ever did get asked about music. And especially Mick and Denise, who actually, Denise's father was the first one to set up the park down there for the public down there at the Port of Allyn. They were never asked about live music or the gazebo. And so that point, and once again, we're not asking 1 or 2 days so that we can enjoy the music and the water between an appropriate time span.
And Larry, I did have a question that was brought up earlier. Do we have a capacity listing for that? Doc?
We should
I'm not sure I
probably have a
understand the
load
question.
weight.
I tried to look it up. I
You
couldn't.
know, I drove
Okay,
by there. I couldn't find it, but you know,
Well,
if
I
people
have
were
all
just,
the engineered drawings from it being rebuilt. What was that, 19 years ago, Judy?
Yeah,
So we can look at that.
if
yeah,
people were
and
just
Zach
mooring
had-
their boat and not using it as a gathering area, there wouldn't be a problem. But if we're going to sanction a music festival out there, we're going to have some capacity numbers for that area or that dock.
I know right where all the engineered stuff is, so we can look that up tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see that we had any numbers out there, so.
Yeah.
and Zach, you had your hand raised?
Thanks. I
Yes.
just wanted to reply briefly to the commission's council. I'm looking at WAC 197 11800. That's the categorical exemptions to the SEPA requirements. And as to leasing, there is an exemption for leasing, but it says an exemption for leasing or granting an easement for or otherwise authorizing the use of real property when the property use will remain essentially the same as the existing use. First of all, I don't think you're leasing this property to HDs or to Art. I think he's renting it from you, which is a different thing. And secondly, this is for an entirely different use than the existing use. It's not leasing the dock for use as a moorage dock. It's leasing the dock for use as a party venue. When I looked at this section, I thought that the only possible exemption that might apply was exemption 19 for procedural actions, which says that the proposal, amendment, or adoption of resolutions or ordinances or of any plan or program will be exempt if they are relating solely to government procedures and containing no substantive standards respecting the use or modification of the environment. But I doubt that the commission is going to authorize this use without including some substantive standards regarding noise and traffic and parking and other aspects of the human and natural environment. So exemption 19 just doesn't apply. Thanks.
Joe, did you want to respond?
Yeah, my sense is that the language, the port engages in leasing and otherwise authorizing, which is exactly what this is, many times, and many ports do that without complying with SEPA. And so I do think it fits in subsection C of number 5. But certainly if the port were to the commissioners this evening were interested in authorizing some level of activity here, I would agree and have spoken to the executive director earlier today about doing some of the things that have been raised, which is ensuring that proper insurance is in place, ensuring that the live load of that dock facility, as Leanne just mentioned, is investigated and that all other applicable local, state, and federal laws are observed by and through that agreement, which would include, of course, compliance with the noise ordinance, for example. And certainly, those are the sorts of things that if we don't already have a form of permit or authorization that covers all these things, then I would stop short of granting a full authorization. Even if you elect to provide some form of authorization through a vote, I would do so. If it's to the negative, it's moot. If it's to the affirmative, I would say pending that the commissioners would authorize this pending completion of an agreement that's to the port's satisfaction as to a number of what would normally be appropriate conditions to approve the use. And I do think that there's an argument to be made that that this facility is a recreational facility, and that use of the facility for boating or gathering by the public near the water is arguably the same use. And so, as usual, lawyers can split hairs on these sorts of things, but I think that we would likely have a convincing argument that the uses are not inconsistent with one another. Thank you.
Joe. John, did you want to move forward?
Yeah, I do, but I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on any further discussion. So if there is no further discussion, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Right. I make a motion that to oppose and disapprove this, because I do not believe that this is a proper venue out there in an organized, large numbers of people, and the idea of what that whole proposed event would take place. It's not appropriate, and we brought up the many times. It's gone over and over, and what I see fitting is a venue in Allyn, the gazebo or whatever other venue they can find. But as far as our responsibility at the Port of Allyn, that is a proper venue. I just don't believe we should be getting into splitting hairs on maybe it'll go well, maybe it won't, or how different council might see this issue. The neighbors, there's a lot of people there that are uncomfortable with it, to say the least. But I am, as a commissioner, am opposed to it and make the motion to disapprove it for safety reasons, with alcohol and water mixed together literally right up around you. It's just not an appropriate venue. So I propose we disapprove it.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. I'm against it. I think I'm for the people, not just art, for the people, and with responsibility, all the work that people have been trying to do. That's why I'm for it, because I think they can be responsible. Before, there wasn't any real guidelines, and now that we're aware, I just think we should keep that in mind, that it does pass. So Art, I am sorry. It's not approved.
Thank you for your time, Judy, and thank you to the council. Again, we were trying to bring something to our community that was good and would benefit. And because of politics, it just didn't happen.
You can bring it to the Port of Allyn. We'd love to have it down there, Art. I mean,
I'm sure you would. Larry, I'm trying to bring something to Belfair, our community. I don't go whichever way the wind blows. I support our community. I do many, many things to generate jobs, to generate monies. We do benefits for the public. We raise food, for the food bank. We raised Toys for Tots. I heard terms like alcohol fueled. I heard terms of, I mean, again, what I saw at the Port of Allyn gazebo was exactly what happened at the Port of Allyn North Shore. And I mean, you are the Port Authority. And I appreciate your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. And thank you, everybody else who had something to say about that. So moving on, sorry, we have next on is the discussion of allowing camping at the kayak park.
And the reason that this was on there was we've had a couple of people ask us if we allowed it. And, the kayak park gets used for almost nothing. And
So is the Port of North Shore.
we tried to use it as a wedding venue and got stopped by the county for permitting reasons.
Sorry,
But anyway, I just want to see how you all felt about that. We've had a couple of requests the last couple of weeks, so I decided to throw it out there, see what you thought.
Well, my concern again was because it was a RCO grant, we have to, did you investigate about the?
I have not. I have tried. We got a new account rep or grant manager, and I tried to ask her about it, and she couldn't grasp what I was trying to ask her. So I've got another call into Kim, our old grant manager, and see what she can say, if she can help us. The one we got, I guess, is new, and Kim's gotten a promotion. So I think we're dealing with somebody that's not experienced enough to answer the question. So
well, I'd like you to find out.
Keep working on it if you want. I just wanted to, before I put a lot of work into it, I wanted to see what you all thought.
Okay.
My initial reaction, Larry, would be no. I know that we've had discussions before that kayak park is rarely used, but allowing camping on our, boy, I mean, it's just, Port Travis, we have campers out there and something happens, and and it's not a very big piece of property. I guess if somebody were to come in with a truck and canopy, that would be fine, but aren't we still locking up those bathrooms?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. I don't know. Well, once you get the information, I think it'd be a good discussion, but my initial reaction would be no. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say no, really, just because of the.
Well, then never
what
mind.
Travis has. Yeah.
Then never mind. Move on.
I don't know, John. John, any comment?
I don't really have any input on that right now. I looked at it today, honestly, for the first time and thinking about it. I mean, I don't like it either, but I'm not here to say yay or nay. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I didn't have an opinion either way. It was just, like I said, the question came up. I thought I'd see what y'all thought.
I mean, when you think about camping and you got a pretty good highway right there, it just doesn't really sit with me well. But again, I'm not going to say yeah or nay because I don't know. I'm not here to make a decision on that right now, but that's how I feel.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the overnight. Yes.
Where that stemmed from was a boater that came in and wanted to set up a tent. So I don't know. That's just where that came from.
And he was, Leanne, real quick, he was more over at the port.
No, he was going to anchor out. So.
Oh, well, he'd have to anchor way out during a low tide. So.
Yeah, he would. That's
got that right.
That's very true.
Well, being that what we just went through, I don't think we should. It's just one more thing that we need to worry about.
No.
Okay, the next item is overnight parking at the Allyn waterfront after the gates are locked and penalties if necessary.
Okay, this came from Travis, and his question was, well, what happens if it's time for me to lock the gates and there's still cars here with nobody in them? what do you want to do? Do you want to have them towed, or do you want to, just charge them a fee for parking there, but they have to wait till the night's over, or, what do you want to do? So, that's the question. And like I said, the question came from Travis.
Well, any comments, gentlemen?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It is,
I'd like to sit down with Travis and have us all sit down and maybe brainstorm some ideas.
Right.
I could just see if there's somebody had a legitimate reason to leave their car there, and we lock it in. And yeah, I'd like to sit down with Travis, come up with some ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a difficult, if I could, just real quick,
yes.
I think it's a difficult question, but the, in most, if you think about any other private lot, which this is not a private lot, but there should be signage that clearly illustrates that the park will be locked.
Yeah, we're going to have those made.
Right. And frankly, I think the policy, and I'll obviously defer to your upcoming conversation with Commissioner Jackson and others on this, but normally you would have an ability to tow a vehicle that's not in compliance. You won't make many friends doing that, but that's probably the short answer. Leaving the gate open every time you have a car that doesn't comply that would open up another can of worms that in other words, the floodgates literally for everyone to get in there. So, but I certainly welcome, for you to continue to discuss that, but it seems like, do you have a towing service for other facilities?
No, we don't. We've never had to have one.
We may want to talk to the local ranch, Larry, and maybe set up a contract with them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've done on when I've had issues on my private property, commercial private properties, is the tow company puts their own sign up, and then you just call them if there's a problem. So that might be another alternative.
Okay, well, maybe we should have a little more discussion with Travis.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate your comment about that. That's great. Okay, that's tabled. So our next is public comment. If you would keep it to your comments in 3 minutes. Who would like to go first? Jeff?
Okay, I'm on.
Yes, you're on. Good.
Okay. Couple things. One is I appreciate the port taking the action they did with regards to the, handling the North Shore issue with the venue there. As many of you know, I chaired Allyn Days for about 7 years with the Allyn Community Association, and even in that venue of the town of Allyn, it was trying for a lot of neighbors. So we did a lot of different things to try to mitigate those the different events, from traffic to what have you. And in the end, it's very hard to do. And when you're out there more in the hinterlands, not more in a residential area, it's even tougher. So I appreciate the action that the port took on that. So thank you. Another matter, that website, I realize you probably won't get to it till next year, but please get to it. The navigation, it works. I mean, I'm getting used to it, but it seems alien to a lot of other sites. And if it could be made to flow a little better, it'd really be nice. As far as a position on that camping issue on the kayak park, I would not be in favor because I think then that opens you up to the issues to the other park for camping. And I just don't see it. I don't think it fits. I don't think it's within the venue. Question, on the pump that went out here a few weeks ago, the reason I'm asking this is probably within 2 years after the the port put in its pump, I put in my pump, to our water system. And while yours was, twice the horsepower, I was curious what went on or do you know, did the installer say what actually went? I mean, was it bearings? Was it the actual motor? Or
I believe it was a motor. Leanne actually might know more than I do.
Everything was fried on the inside. So something happened, all the way into the electrical box. So
Oh,
we had to get a new motor, a new controller. Yeah.
all the way, all the way up, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what their lifespan is, but that was 13 years old. So.
Right. No, I have one at about 11. And so that's why I was asking.
You're next.
Well, I just, I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but I just was curious. But when you say it was fried all the way up to the box, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, okay, thanks. And last, see, was there anything?
Yeah, that's all you typically get out of those pumps is 11 to 13, and you're doing good. No, seriously, that's based on having gone through that.
No, I understand. They've always told me that the way pumps run the longest is they run the fewest cycles, and the port has one of the better setups in that issue, where you pump, fill the tank, and it's off for a few days, and then it pumps again. Whereas mine, it pumps 12 times a day. So anyway, and I don't disagree with that. I just was curious because it's like, okay, you're coming in the same time of the season. What things
Ours has been pumping hard for a little while, so I kind of think this was coming, and we just didn't know quite what was going on until it just blew.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
If you notice anything different with yours.
All I'm hearing is a little bit of complaints from people along Blackwell that the water pressure is a little low. But
that's what the booster is going to be for.
Right. No, I understand. So thank you.
Is that it?
That's it. That's what thank you is. Oh,
okay. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Joe, too. And in fact, Joe has been our expert water guy for many, many years. Okay, who else? I see others. Eric, Terry, Herman, anybody else? Oops, I don't know where that happened. Anybody else? Okay, anything for the good of the order? Nothing?
The Rams are ahead.
What's the Seahawks score?
16-7.
Okay.
The Rams.
16-7 them?
Rams.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, let me see. I think, well, I guess this is okay. Joe, anything else that you can think of that we need to talk about? It's all good.
Well, the only thing, if I could, as part good of the order, I'll just mention that I appreciate, although I don't think he's on any longer, he's enjoying the game, but I appreciate Brad's participation in public comment. I think that one of the issues he raised was that statements entered into our minutes in a prior meeting mentioned his name in the context of discussions between the PUD and the Port of Allyn, and that Mr. Carey believes that the port may have misstated the facts concerning a discussion that was had with the PUD manager. And, this is one of those, he's raising sort of a he said, she said issue, but, it's hard to judge here. His version of what the PD manager had to say is, of course, by definition, hearsay. Whatever she said was not necessarily, I'm sure, said under oath. And so, at this point, even if we were to, look at the statute and which is this chapter 4016 that Brad brought to our attention, there is in fact, a a Washington Supreme Court case that came out in 2001. It's called State v. Hampton. And the nature of the ports entering information into the record by and through its minutes doesn't fall within the purview of that statute, even if it was erroneous. And so I don't think that there's a real action item there for the port. It's an unfortunate disagreement over that. But I'm not sure that, again, further action or discussions needed on that. I just wanted to mention that.
Also on that note, I called one of the commissioners who had been PUD1, who's been there a long time, and it was resolved. It was, I think, amicable. So just for the record that it was resolved.
Good.
Okay.
So do we need to set our work session for the 22nd?
Well, what I wanted to do there was to wait and see, well, once we got the agenda for the meeting, we would know when we had time.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and we are, just FYI, we are scheduled to go to the Small Ports conference in Leavenworth this month. I hope everybody's going to be there. John and Ted.
Could be there.
Be there.
Good. I'm looking forward to that. It's been a long time, and hopefully, Joe, you can zoom in or something. Looking forward to that because it's so beneficial, and I'm really really grateful that we can all go.
Is that being held at a hotel
Yes.
conference center there?
Yes,
Yes,
the
it is.
Enzian.
Mhm.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Okay, and if nothing else for the good of the order, meeting adjourned.
All right, have a great night.
Thank
Night.
you.
Good, everyone.